Hello students, myself Dr. Divya, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So in this session, you will understand the energy resources that are a part of natural resources and environmental pollution. So here are the topics: energy resources, its definition and different types of resources, classification of energy resources depending on their availability, different examples and their details, advantages and disadvantages. So what are energy resources? They are really recognized as one of the major inputs for our mankind living. So because that will give us, like, you can use it for the electricity generation, and that will help in economic growth and human development. So there is a strong two-way relationship between economic development and energy consumption, because if there are industries that are developing, that gives an economy to that country, so the industries will consume energy during the production and various plants. So approximately 80% of world's energy is produced by fossil fuels. So in the previous sessions we have understood, like, fossil fuels are nothing but coal or petroleum that is being produced from the decay of organic matter from the animals and plankton. So these fossil fuels are non-renewable. That means they get depleted. So most of the energy that is world is using is from fossil fuels. Like 80% is from the fossil fuels. So that includes oil. Oil is nothing but the crude oil that we obtain from the mining, then coal forming from the decay of plankton and animals, then natural gas. So natural gas, oil and coal are the three different types of fossil fuels. So there is growing energy needs in our domestic life. For example, we are nowadays using washing machine, dishwashers and mixers and etc. So all these consume electricity. So those comes under domestic appliances. And industrial manufacturers, like many industries, run with consumption of energy from the electricity. So agriculture sectors, for example, we are utilizing some of the energy in the form of lighting purpose or tractors, and also in that way we are using even for the agriculture sector. So the total potential for renewable energy power generation in our country as per 2015 is estimated to be 89,000 megawatt. So this is how there is a lot of energy we are producing in our country per annum. So this also includes, like, there are various types of energy resources that we are using in different ways. Like residential purpose, we are using about 10% of energy in the form of electricity, and others like 14%. Industry is the largest sector, where we are using about 49% of energy in the form of electricity for running machines. So agriculture is of about 5%, and transportation 22%, and others are around 14%. So this is how we are really using our electricity or the power for different sectors. So this also includes the wind power that is produced from the wind. So this is how around 1 lakh megawatt of power is produced from wind, and then small hydropower, which is about, this 1 lakh megawatt is about 11% of the total power that is generated in the country. Then small hydropower is also generated, which have a potential of 19,000 megawatts, that is about 2% of the power that is generated in the country. Then the biomass power is also generated nowadays. The biomass, or the gobar gas that we are producing, is also trending. Like most of the villages where the availability of LPG is low, biomass is used in the generation of electricity or the fuel. So this has got an input of around 17,000 megawatt power to the complete power that is being generated in the country, that is about 1.96%. Then 5,000 megawatt from the bagasse based cogeneration in sugar mills and sugar mills. It means during sugar purification, the molasses that is produced, So when the molasses is produced, bagasse is a byproduct. So this is like a waste. So this waste is used to generate electricity or the power that can be used in different fueling purposes. The solar power potential is about 7 lakh megawatt. It is about 83%. So this is a very good number. Like 83% of the power is generated from solar power, wherein abundant sunlight is available in our country. Like most of the days will be very sunny. Then the geographical distribution of this estimated potential of renewable energy as per 2015 statistics shows that Rajasthan has the highest share of about 17%. So wherein we are producing energy in the Rajasthan state, which is about 17% of the whole nation's power. Then followed by Jammu and Kashmir, which is 13%. And Gujarat is of 8% share accounting to the solar power. So if we see this, deserts has longer summer times. So that is why we are utilizing that sun, utilizing it for the generation of solar power, utilizing for solar power. So this is a very good initiative that we are able to convert the sunlight into electricity through photovoltaics and nothing but the solar cells in the form of grids that are arranged and can be converted the highest form of abundant energy that is coming from the sun. So that is how there is a lot of energy that is produced in Rajasthan, about 17%, Jammu and Kashmir 13%, and next is the Gujarat 8% of its share. Then in domestic sector, how do we use this energy? Domestic sector, we consume and use the energy as a total amount of energy that is used for the house and the household work. So here we are using for household work, we are utilizing the power that is being given in the form of electricity. So the total amount of energy used per household varies widely depending on the standard of living. So depending on a standard of living, we buy the appliances. So 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. So that depends. That gives the amount of energy that we are consuming in running this machinery. So in the country and also the climate, age and type of residence. So sometimes the residence type also varies, because they cannot have, sometimes there cannot be the provision to use all the appliances in some states. So in that way, the power consumption vary from state to state, climate or age of that residence place. So the domestic sector in India, the consumption of natural fuel wood for energy is very high. So why? Because there are a lot of states wherein we are still using wood for burning, creating fuel for cooking. So this is the form of energy that we are using, that is highest energy that we are using in the domestic purpose. So the other one is that around 78% of rural and 30% of urban households depend on firewood. If you see these statistics, like 78% is a very high number, because in villages we use wood for the firing purposes. So that is why it is 78%. Whereas in the urban households, like we will be using LPG gas and other electric appliances. Therefore, it is only 30%. So depending between 1970 to 71 and 94 to 95, the annual consumption per household went up from 7 kilowatt per hour to 53. So it means, which is very high, that the consumption is increased. Why? Because of developing technology, the consumption increased as the technology developed. So we have got many appliances that uses power and electricity and helps us in cooking, washing, cleaning, etc. So that is why with the development of technology, the power consumption also increased from 7 kilowatt hour to 53 kilowatt hour. So this is only for the household purpose we are using, and at present it is 850 kilowatt hour per capita. It means per an individual. For kerosene, from 6.6 kgs to 9.9 kg, it is very less increase, because we have replaced kerosene with the LPG gas stoves, and at present 20 kg and of cooking gas like 1.33 kg to 3.5 kg. At present it is 35 kgs. We are using cooking gas of about 35 kgs for an individual. It means which is very, very high. So these statistics clearly indicates that increasing demand over the natural resources, especially for non-renewable resources. So there is always an increase in non-renewable resources because of development and technology. So now it's time for us to depend on the renewable energy sources. So in industrial sector, how do we really use these energy sources? So energy is very essential for the production, packing, quality control purpose in many industries such as pharma, health, textile, oil, etc. So industries beside film, education and tourism industries. Besides these industries, the most widely used are the production, packing, quality purposes in the pharma, health, textile industries. So the estimated total consumption of raw coal, for example, coal is a non-renewable energy resource. Non-renewable energy resource. So the total consumption of raw coal by industry has increased from 407 metric tons during 2005 to 6 to 571 metric tons during 2013 to 14 with a so this is a very high, huge jump from 400 to 571, huge jump in the use of raw coal by the industries. So this is statistics is given by compound annual growth rates of about 3.85 increase. So this indicates that we have been increasing this consumption of coal from year to year. Annually it is keep on increasing. So industry-wise, estimates of consumption of coal during 2013 to 14 for the electricity generation is around 427 metric tons, and for the steel and washery industries, it is around 23 metric tons, and for the cement industries, it is around 11.96 metric tons, and the paper industries, it is 1.67 metric tons. So these are the different areas we are using coal. So these are consumed and more coal is being mined for these energy purposes. So if you see this example, in the paper industry, very less coal is required, whereas in the steel and combustion techniques, wherever we use combustion machineries, the coal is required in more quantity. That is why it is high in the steel and cement industries, whereas it is low in the paper industry. So the maximum use of natural gas is in fertilizers industries, so followed by the power generation of about, like in fertilizer industry it is about 32%, and the power generation is 31%, and 8.6 natural gas is used for the domestic fuel. So it means the LPG or the natural gas in the form of both LPG or CNG can be utilized. So in the form of LPG we are using for the fuel purpose, and it is very high in the fertilizers industry. So overall power consumption of industrial sector in India for the year 2005 to 6 and 2014 to 13 to 14 were reported to be 1,51,000 gigawatt hour and 3,86,000 gigawatt respectively. So there is a lot of increase in the usage. If we see this number, there is a huge jump. It's almost a double jump of use of coal in the industries. So in agriculture sector, how we are really using the non-renewable resources, as the world population continues to grow geometrically, great pressure is being placed on arable land or the available land, water, energy and biological resources provided to help people in providing the needs, so to supply like food while maintaining the integrity of our ecosystem. So there is a lot of demand is increasing because of increase in the population. So as world's population expands, the food problem will come into a picture. So this food problem will become increasingly severe, conceivably with the number of malnutrition. So that will lead to malnutrition. Whenever we keep on using them, exploiting them too much, that goes to malnutrition of the population. So this population explosion demands the more energy for the production of food. So we need to have technologies to balance both the ecosystem and also with the increasing population. So, for example, in cultivation and fishery sectors that requires more energy. So, overall per consumption of energy for the agriculture sector in the year of 2005 to 6 and 2013 to 14 are like reported as 90,000 gigawatt and 1,59,000 gigawatt are respectively. So, this shows that there is slight increase in the consumption of energy in the fisheries and cultivation. So, of the total consumption of electricity in 2013 to 14, industry sector accounted for the largest share. Why? Because due to development. Due to development of technology, the industries also kept on getting machineries from abroad. So we are keeping on increasing the technology, and also that increases the energy demand. Development and technology in the industries. Technology in the industries are the main core reasons for the increase in the energy generation that is we are consuming. Next is that followed by domestic, wherein we have increased to 22% because we are using machineries for our daily needs. And also agriculture is about 18% and commercial sectors is about 8.72%. So which clearly indicates growing energy needs in India and other developing countries. So this is happening everywhere like other countries also. So that is why we have to also explore the renewable energy resources. So depending on this like availability and different various causes, there are different types of energy resources. So primary and secondary energy resources. In primary energy resources, renewable or non-conventional and non-renewable energy resources and conventional. Conventional is nothing but what we use traditionally are the conventional. So non-renewable energy resources are like fossil fuels. So here it is given coal, petroleum, natural gas and nuclear fuels are the conventional energy resources, also called as non-renewable energy resources that already nature has given to us. So renewable energies are like hydropower, solar, wind, ocean, geothermal, biomass, and wood. So these are renewable energies wherein if you see the examples itself, we can understand that they can be regenerated. So that is why they are under renewable resources. Then the secondary resource that it is electricity and petrol. So after the secondary resource is only from the primary resource, the production from the primary resource, regeneration. So renewable energy is inexhaustible and can be regenerated again and again and are called as renewable resources. Example: solar, wind, ocean energy like tidal and ocean thermal, we can use it for the energy generation. Geothermal from the earth, biomass from the wastage, hydropower from the water. So this is from the waste. This is from the earth. So the heat that is coming from the earth can also be used for the generation of electricity. Next, non-renewable energy. So these are sources of energy which are exhaustible. So they can be depleted upon too much of use and cannot be regenerated again and again and are called as non-renewable resources. So example: coal energy, natural gas, liquefied petroleum LPG that contains a constitution or the composition of ethane and butane, isobutane, butylenes and propylene. So these are the composition of LPG. So when we keep on using, there are also scope for the giving of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide. So nuclear fuels is also another example that we generally use it for the space applications. So uranium is one of the fuel that we use. Then harnessing of energy. The process of collecting, converting and using of energy is known as harvesting of energy. This is very useful in both renewable and non-renewable energy, wherein we have to be able to convert the proper conversion of as such energy into electricity is very important. Different fuel is very important so that we will not have any hazardous byproducts. So for example, in the renewable energy resources, for example, if we have solar energy, what is solar energy? The sunlight that is having some amount of energy coming from the sun is the solar energy. So it is very abundant in nature. It is abundant abundantly available. So we should have the knowledge and technology to convert this vast energy into electricity or to use for our daily needs. So solar energy is a technology used to harness. So actually the actual technology is the photovoltaics is used for converting the solar energy into electricity that and used to harness this and sun's energy and make it usable for our purpose. So many people are familiar with so-called photovoltaic cells or the solar panels. So found in many things, many places like spacecraft, rooftops, handheld calculators, etc. For example, we have sent many rockets with satellites to the moon and Mars. So these are like operated by solar panels. So if you see that during the mission, the solar panels are used so that it will utilize the sun's energy and use this electricity for revolving purpose. So the cells are made of semiconductor materials. So that forms a p-n junction. So it has a p-type material and an n-type material with the holes and high amount of electrons, that is forming a p-n junction. So like those found in the computer chips. So when sunlight hits the cells, it knocks the electrons loose from their atoms, and that is called as photoelectric effect. As the electrons flow through the cell, they generate electricity. For example, if we have a p and n material that kept together, they will form a depletion layer. So this depletion layer, again there is a separation of charges, separation of these charges, separation of charge carriers. So the charge carriers are nothing but holes and electrons. Holes and electrons. This separation of charge carriers to the top and bottom contacts will give us energy that will produce electricity. The flow of electrons is nothing but the current. So that is how it is giving current and helping in lighting purpose. So this is how there is always a production of current with the help of sun that we have, and we can use it for our appliances. So on much higher scale, the solar thermal power plants employ various other techniques like concentrate the solar. So concentrators, these are called as concentrate solar cells. Concentrate solar cells. So wherein we use a tube-like thing so that there is a hot water that is going on. So we use that heated heat converting into electricity. So the solar heat collectors, it is also called as solar heat collectors. So that sun energy as a heat source, we are using for the heating purpose. Solar thermal energy conversion. So this is how we use sunlight also for the thermal applications. So the heat is then used to boil water, any liquid low boiling point, to drive a steam turbine. So steam turbine can be run that generates electricity in much same fashion as the coal and nuclear power plants. So we can replace the non-renewable energy sources and also supplying electricity for thousands of people. This is how we use the photovoltaics and solar thermal conversions for using for our purpose and also in the industries. So what are the advantages? So what are the advantages of solar energy? Big windows placed on sunny side of the building allow the sunlight to heat absorbing material on the floors and walls. Nowadays in the modern world we have transparent solar cells also. It means the window is transparent solar cells. So the window will be transparent, but it will be coated with an absorbent material. So that will absorb the sunlight and also convert into electricity. That is how we can install these transparent solar cells to our windows and help in generating electricity. So these surfaces then release the heat at night to keep the building warm. This is also another application wherein the absorbed heat during day is released during night to keep the room warmer. So absorbent plates on a roof can heat liquids into that supply house with hot water. This is solar thermal application. Solar thermal, because this is not generating electricity, but still it is helping in boiling or heating the hot water, heating the water. So that is how we can use it for boiling the water and help. It can be used for various purposes. So solar energy in inexhaustible resource. There's a fuel source that is no pollution and no noise. So no noise and no pollution, often noise free and pollution free. So the technology is also versatile. So it is eminent technology, and hence solar cells generate energy for far out places like satellites in the Earth orbit and cabins deep in the Rocky Mountains. So this is how I have already given an example. Like in our satellites, also we are using these solar panels that will be helping the generation of electricity during its travel from the Earth to the desired planet. So electronic, it is also used in the electronic calculators, watches, gadgets, uses these solar energy in very small cell of the solar cell can be installed on the top of this gadget so that it gets recharged during daytime. So renewable, it is renewable and eco-friendly energy source, and it is all free of cost. Only the initial investment is high for buying solar cells. Initial investment is required. Otherwise it is free. Otherwise the source is free from the sun that can be converted into electricity. So what are the disadvantages? It doesn't work at night without a storage device such as batteries. So it is obviously, it is we have to accept, because sun is not available at night, so we cannot convert, we cannot get electricity during night from the solar panels. So this is not possible without a storage device. Like battery is to be installed. Battery is required for storing energy. It means during day the energy will be stored in battery, and during night we can use that energy for our purpose. So cloudy weather can make the technology unreliable during day. It means in our country we have very good temperatures, like during summer, and also without summer also we have some good daylight during non summer days also. But in other countries like western countries, eastern countries doesn't have very high, like no sunny days. So in that way it will be problem. No sunny days sometimes in other countries. So there are the different technologies that are still developing, so that there will be some absorbing material that can harness even in the dim light. So till the technology is coming into practice, it is really tough for us to manage with the cloudy weather with the solar panels. So solar technologies are also very expensive. The technology initial investment is very high. However, there are subsidies that are given by the governments so that we can install the panels and use it for our purpose. Require a lot of land area to collect the sun energy at rates useful to lots of people. Like it requires a lot of energy for, if we want to give it in a commercial way, like what we are getting from the electricity. But however, if we install our own panels on our homes, it is very easier. But however, when it is like a plant, the department, whenever the government department is supplying the energy, it requires a lot of place that has to be considered. Skilled manpower required for installation, because they are made of glass panels. So very skilled persons has to install, engineers has to install these panels, even if we want to use it for a domestic purpose also. So these are the disadvantages of solar energy. But however, if we see the resource, it is very useful because the sunlight is very abundant in nature. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.